My family ordered me to cook for 37 guests. On Christmas, instead I said no, booked a flight to Paris, and left them to face an empty kitchen alone. I was born useful. This Christmas, I learned how to be unavailable. My name is Adrian. I'm the oldest of two, the one who fixes the printer, scrapes the casserole dish, and remembers when to take out the garbage. At a hotel, I handle front-of-house duties such as scheduling, event planning, and seating charts. I prefer lists with checkboxes, drawers that close completely, and receipts that match what I actually purchased. My name is Adrian. I'm the oldest of two, the one who fixes the printer, scrapes the casserole dish, and remembers when to take out the garbage. At a hotel, I handle front-of-house duties such as scheduling, event planning, and seating charts. I prefer lists with checkboxes, drawers that close completely, and receipts that match what I actually purchased. My folks describe me as dependable. If you ask me, I'm the one who keeps the lights on while the others enjoy the room. My sister, Celine, is 26. She's the glitter, creative, buoyant, and destined for great things. She texts and uses exclamation points but never fully charges her phone. We grew up in a small, noisy environment where help meant doing it and family meant paying for it. Celine always had a crowd. I always carried a dish towel. When we were kids and mom had people over, I set out plates and wiped fingerprints off the fridge, while Celine tried on outfits in my parents' room and showed up at the last minute. When I obtained my first job, my father charged me $170 for the house. When Celine received hers, her mother advised her to just focus on your dreams. December is a busy month at the hotel. We host a dozen office parties and 2 charity galas. My December is a spreadsheet with color-coded blocks and a break penciled in as a joke. This year, I circled one day, December 26th, because it was mine. For the first time ever, I had saved 3 PTO days consecutively. I desired quiet. I wanted to wake up without a list. One day before Christmas, I visited my folks with a tin of cookies from the hotel bakery. Mom was in the kitchen, wearing my aerobic sweatshirt. Dad had the football game on mute. Celine sat on the couch, bare feet tucked under her, scrolling. Mom greeted me in that upbeat tone she employs when there is already a plan. "Oh, perfect timing," she replied. "Your sister's friends are spending Christmas here. Only 37 people." I laughed because sometimes the only sound you can make is a mistake. 37. Celine smiled without looking up. "It's basically my whole creative cohort, plus once," she informed me. Vibes. Mom began bringing out the large roasting pan. "We'll do stations," she explained. "Grazing board, carving, dessert. You can do the timeline." "Me," I said, as if I were a visitor in this discourse. "Obviously you," Dad responded, staring at the television. "You're good at this." Mom was already listing. "We need chairs. We need extra ice. We need a vegetarian option. You'll handle the turkey, the ham, the salmon. Oh, ask your hotel if you can borrow chauffeurs. And Celine needs a mocktail bar, and there's a gluten-free person." "And 2 gluten-free," Celine said, still browsing. Mom gave me an unmistakable smirk. "Don't worry," she said. "Grown men don't need to open presents. They need to take responsibility." Dad said, without looking. "Get used to discipline, son. You've got 24 hours. My mouth formed the little smile that occurs when I want to say no, but the room expects yes. The kitchen was bright. The countertop was clean. When Mom laid the roasting pan down, the metal made a bell-like sound. I looked at the fridge, where Mom had posted a sticky note with the word menu and a blank under it, as a dare. I could feel a list attempting to crawl into my skull and settle there. 37, I reiterated. "Only," Mom replied. Celine photographed the empty cutting board, as if it were the beginning of a cookery show. "Christmas content," she explained. I placed the cookies on the countertop. I drew a breath, hoping no one would hear. And I said simply, "Got it." I did not protest, not present, not then. I stepped to the sink, turned on the water, and watched it get hot. The faucet hissed like a secret. The trigger was not a shout. It was a smirk. It was just 37. It was the way my name had already appeared on a blank menu at a house where I did not reside. I cleaned my hands with a towel that always smells like lemon cleaner and stored the cookies in the pantry. No one asked me what I wanted for Christmas. They never do. Someone should have. The job title at the hotel is Assistant Event Manager. In my family, it means free labor with a smile. It started little. When I was 12, I made deviled eggs because you're neat with your hands. By 16, I was grilling for 20 because you're good with timing. By age 20, I knew where Mom stored the extra tablecloths and how to wedge a folding table so it didn't wobble. "You're a natural," Mom would say, as if she'd discovered me. Money usually showed up under a new identity. Dad termed it discipline when he deducted $170 from my part-time wage for housing and board. Mom referred to it as helping when she added me to the family phone plan and then neglected to switch her card back after I paid for 2 consecutive months. Celine texted, "Can you spot me $83? The universe will return it." The universe never did. There were scenes that stuck with me like replays. My senior year graduation party coincided with Celine's early portfolio showing. I set up lights, hauled ice, and was instructed to move my own cake to make place for her ring light. When I received a promotion at the hotel, I brought champagne. Mom reached beyond the bottle and remarked, "Oh good. You can finally buy those new dining chairs." We did. I paid, Dad said. A man provides. Like furniture, it was a test I'd learned about too late. The family group chat is a swarm of assignments. "Adrian, can you pick up Aunt Clara at 4? Adrian, Costco run. Adrian, table for 12 inches. I learnt to respond with a thumbs up or not at all. When I didn't react, my mother would text, "Don't be cold," then call the hotel, "Just popping by," and urge my manager to remind me of our big family weekend. My manager would smile sweetly and hand me the message as if it were a flower with a thorn. Celine moved through it all like a balloon. She soft-launched 3 businesses but did not hard-launch any of them. A candle brand, pop-up brunches, and a moodboard-focused podcast. She was given a leased SUV for safety, and she cried when her father told her she needed to pay for insurance. "It's predatory," she explained. I witnessed Dad convert predatory into a tale about how the world treats artists unfairly. He instructed me to make room. What will you make place for? For whom? For the version of my sister that only appears in captions. Last Christmas, I cooked for 18 because Grandma couldn't do it anymore. I made a grocery list, paid for excess, which became the norm, and slashed my thumb when the good knife hit the bad angle. Mom blotted the blood with a dish towel and said, "Are you okay?" She didn't stop. Neither of us did. We served at 5. In March, Celine arranged a vision brunch for 12 guests and used my hotel discount to rent chaffers. "You can bring them," she said. "You know how to set them up." Later, she shared a photo of my hands in a frame with the caption, "Grateful for community." I received 2 texts from strangers wondering if I catered. I replied, "No," and received a 3rd text from Mom. We could make a business of this. April was the month when we discussed rent. "Stop wasting money," Dad said. "Move back home. Save." He pronounced save as if it meant the same thing to everyone. Our house had a single bathroom and 3 people who never knocked. I stayed in my 1 bedroom with creaky floors and silence. I paid for it. I swallowed their disappointment like a pill without water. Summer was a busy season for the motel. Every Saturday there was a pair with candle centerpieces and a DJ who believed volume equaled love. I bought a suitcase with my overtime pay. I created a folder named Elsewhere with photographs, lists, and pricing. Not because I despise my family, but because I wanted to experience what it was like to be in a place where no one knew my last name. By October, Mom's questions had progressed from "Can you" to "Rule." She submitted a Google page titled "Christmas Plan." The first line wasn't "Who's coming," but "Menu, Adrian under budget." She wrote, "We'll discuss," which means you pay and we forget. Then the only 37 landed. Celine's friends, Celine's people. People named Forrest, Aria, Sage, and one guy who goes by initials. Mom made a wish list like a Pinterest board with a heartbeat. "Just think how nice it'll look," she added. "We'll need rental chairs, 37 tablecloths, 7 extra plates. You can borrow from the hotel." "No one will notice," she explained. I said they will. She waved it off. "It's the season." Dad commented, "We need a signature cocktail." "You do those, right? Not too sweet. Use that good ice. And you might as well cover the Costco run. Your card gets points." Celine added, "No dairy, no soy, no nuts, no nightshades, but like make it cozy." I looked at them and observed its shape. At daybreak, I was roasting 2 turkeys, slicing veggies, and texting staff to find a spare heat lamp. I hold a timer in one hand and a ladle in the other. Me at 10 p.m., hauling trash as Celine recorded a "What a Night" narrative, and Mom said, "We did that." Then Mom added the final garnish. "And you'll drop the deposit for the tent today?" she asked, as if the weather was on my payroll. "It's only $900 to hold." "Only," Dad repeated. He took that phrase out like a pocket knife and used it to clean his nails. "Who's paying me back?" I inquired. The room grew silent as if I had shouted a curse. Mom recovered first. "Don't be transactional," she said. "It's ugly. This is family." Dad said, "We're giving you a project. You should be grateful." "What am I grateful for?" "Being a staff member for my own family." I swallowed. I nodded. I nodded because that's what I do when my mind is racing and my tongue wants to be quiet. That night, I opened the Elsewhere folder and glanced at a photo I had saved of a gray street with a bakery on the corner and a blue door. I gazed till my shoulders slumped. I did not inform anyone what was in that folder. It was not a secret. It was a barrier that hadn't learned to communicate yet. The meeting took place the next morning because Mom enjoys meetings. She had a printed agenda with boxes and the headline, "Christmas Run of Show." Dad spoke in his coach voice. Selene had her camera set to selfie mode, ready for behind the scenes. We sat at the kitchen table. The roasting pan gleamed from the counter, like an unexpected trophy. Mom got started. "Okay, Adrian, you'll shop tonight. 2 turkeys, 1 ham, salmon fillet for the pescatarians, veggie station for the plant-based people. We'll set up the rental chairs at noon tomorrow. You can pick them up at 9 a.m. And I said no. It wasn't loud. It was clean. 3 heads turned. Celine's camera stopped. Mom blinked, her smile fixed in place like a stuck screen. "What?" "No," I repeated. "I'm not catering your party." Dad leaned back. "Watch your tone." "This is my tone," I said calmly. Celine laughed. The mean kind. "You're joking," she replied. "I'm not," I said. "I'm not your chef. I'm not your ruler. I'm not your rental account. I'm your son. I'm Celine's brother." Mom's voice became syrupy. "Sweetheart, we're family. We show up." "I show up," I said. "I've shown up for years. I've shown up with my hands and my card." Dad clenched his jaw. "A man provides." "I know," I concluded. "I've heard that since I was 15. Here's mine. A man sets limits. I'm not cooking Christmas for 37 of Celine's friends. I'm not paying deposits. I'm not borrowing chaffers. I'm not risking my job for your party." Celine seared me with a glance. "So what? We just cancel? You'll embarrass me?" "No," I replied. "You'll host your party with your resources." "Adrian," Mom snapped. Now you can hear my real voice, the one with edges. "Don't ruin the holiday." I retained her gaze. "I'm not ruining it. I'm opting out of being your staff." Dad banged his palm against the table. Silverware leaped. "We will not be disrespected in our own house." I stood. My legs felt much like mine. "Then respect me in your house." Mom reached for the final lever. "After everything we've done for you." I nodded. "I know. You raised me. You fed me. And since 16, I paid you $170 a month for the privilege. I added you to my phone plan. I covered groceries when your card glitched. I ran your parties. I took grandma to appointments. I love you. I'm done being your unpaid employee." Celine's voice broke into a wail. "You're jealous," she replied. "People like me." "I like you," I confessed. "I don't like being used." Dad's cheeks turned red. "If you walk out, don't come back tomorrow. You're banned from Christmas." "Banned?" As if I were a teenager wanting to borrow the automobile. I peered at Celine's camera lens, which was black and flat. I looked at Mom's schedule. I peered at the roasting pan. "This is not about vengeance," I explained. "This is about closure." They were staring. The words rested in the center of the table, like a glass of water that nobody wanted to touch. "What does that even mean?" Celine demanded. "It means I'm closing the role you wrote for me," I told you. "You can be angry. You can host. You can cancel. I'm not your solution." Mom stood. "If you leave, you're selfish." "If I stay, I'm a servant," I said. "I choose selfish." Dad pointed to the door. "Go then." "Okay," I said. I did not slam anything. I strolled into the main hall. I took up my coat. I took the cookies I had brought back out of the pantry, knowing they would be repurposed without my permission. Celine mumbled something with my name in it, almost like a curse. Mom stated, "He'll be back." I turned at the threshold. Grandma's covered, I said. I already arranged her taxi for Christmas morning and a lunch reservation for 2 at noon. She won't be here either way. 2, Mom snapped. With who? With whoever shows up for her, I finished. You're invited. Dad scoffed. We have guests. I know, I replied. I stepped outside into the cold, softly closed the door, and set my phone to airplane mode in the driveway. The sky was a flat winter blue that gave everything an honest appearance. I sat in my car, watching the steam from my breath dissipate. This time, leaving was not a storm. It was a door that closed completely the first time I pushed it. I did not deliver a speech to my phone. I made movements. At home, I opened my laptop and the folder I had titled, Elsewhere. There was a confirmation email from 3 weeks ago, resting at the top, like a silent yes. Round trip to Paris. Red-eye flight out of our city at 11:45 p.m. Return on the 28th. Hotel was booked using points. I had saved all year. Keep cash tips in a container. Overtime. Luncheons prepared at home. The ticket had been a gift to myself. I hadn't told anyone since in my family. News is recruited into the group conversation before it reaches you. I checked in. I chose a window seat. I printed the boarding pass because paper relaxes me. Turn the phone back on. There are 12 missed calls. 3 from Mom, 2 from Dad, 7 from Celine. The texts landed in a stack. Mom, you are being obscene. Dad, grow up. Celine, you're ruining my event. Mom, we'll talk at 6. Be here. Dad, non-negotiable. I did not leave at 6 o'clock. I brought a carry-on with 3 sweaters, 2 pairs of jeans, socks, a novel, my passport, and a list of bakeries I wanted to visit. I fed my neighbor's cat ahead of time, texted her a photo, and provided a spare key in return for her watering my plant. At 7:03, Mom called. I let it ring. At 7:05, Dad called. I let it ring. At 7:12, Celine writes in all caps, "Everyone is counting on you." I sent one text. "I'm not hosting your party." At 8:40, I requested a taxi to the airport. At 9:10, I set my phone to do not disturb for everyone except Grandma and the airline. At 9:45, I received a notification. Celine has added you to an Instagram story. I did not click. At 10:02, an email arrived from the tent rental company. Hi Adrian, just confirming we have a tentative hold. Please complete deposit by 8 p.m. to secure. I said Mom and said, please release. I won't be paying or picking up. Mom replied at 10:10. Are you sick? At 10:15, a response from the rental company. Released as requested. At 10:27, I called Grandma. I'm going to be away for a few days, I announced. Your taxi is for 11 a.m. on the 25th. Lunch is at noon. Order number is 48,271. They know you like the window table. She chuckled. You always did have a head, she replied. Go see something you want. At 11:45, the wheels are up, and the phone is in airplane mode. The city faded away like a complex discussion. I didn't have to finish. I slept poorly and brilliantly at the same time. I awoke to a pale grid of fields, thinking that I had reclaimed my own time. When I turned on my phone after landing, it went nuts. 39 missed calls. 112 texts. A new group chat called, Emergency Now. The scroll read like a script. When the first visitors arrived at my parents' house, the kitchen was still bare, counters vacant, ovens chilly, nothing prepared. Mom's smirk disappeared. Her face drained of color as she realized there was no food ready, only a crowd waiting for service. 5:10 p.m. Mom. Where are you? 5:12 p.m. Celine. We need the keys to the church hall. 5:15 p.m. Dad, pick up your phone. 5:21 p.m. Mother. The turkey is still frozen. 5:30 p.m. Celine. You are destroying my brand. 5:37 p.m. Mom. Adrian, be a man. 5:41 p.m. Dad. We will remember this. 6 p.m. Unknown. My name is Sage. Is there quinoa? 6:02 p.m. Mom. Okay, answer. 6:14 p.m. Celine. I informed everyone that you had a meltdown. 6:21 p.m. Mom. Your aunt is on the way. 6:33 p.m. Mom, where is the nice salt? 6:34 p.m. Celine. We need ice. 6:35 p.m. Mom, we need ice. 6:40 p.m. Dad is stubborn. 6:46 p.m. Mom, we found rice. 6:52 p.m. Celine, the oven is slow. 7:10 p.m. Mom, there are guests on their way. Message after message revealed the same fact. The kitchen they expected me to fill remained empty, and each missing dish prompted another furious text. 7:14 p.m. Mom, where is the carving knife? I stared at the last one for a long moment before setting my phone down on the tiny motel desk. A street outside my window moved quietly. I put on a coat and headed to a bakery that had been mentioned in 5 different blog articles as nothing exceptional, but nice. The line moved quickly. The woman handed me a bag and muttered something I could not understand. I said, "Mercy." It was the only word I had. Back in my room, another stack. 7:30 p.m. Celine. There is no mocktail. 7:32 p.m. Mother. The gluten-free person brought bread. 7:40 p.m. Dad. We are out of plates. 7:41 p.m. Mom, where is the nice salt? I deleted my kitchen doesn't have the good salt. I took it home months ago. Better not to open the door. At 8:12 p.m. Grandma sent a single text. Taxi scheduled. Thank you. At 9:03 p.m. the tone changed. Mom. You can't celebrate New Year's until you apologize. Dad. Pay your half or you'll be cut off. Celine. You are dead to me. Cut off from what? I've held an unpaid internship in their lives. I ate warm bread and fell asleep at 9:40, like a person who hadn't slept for weeks. Morning. Christmas. Quiet streets. Gray sky. I heard a church bell somewhere I did not belong. I made burnt coffee and went beside a river. Nobody recognized me. Nobody asked for ice. Grandma sent a photo at midday, her wearing a paper crown from a Christmas cracker and seated near a window with a platter of cooked chicken and potatoes. Aunt Clara stands next to her, beaming, wearing the same crown. Caption, good and warm. I smiled so fiercely that my face hurt. Afternoon. I took inventory like I usually do after events, but this time, everything was mine. Family plans. I logged in, paid my current balance, and planned a split at the end of the cycle. It's merely my line. I texted Mom and Celine links for transferring lines to their respective accounts before the 31st. Streaming, password changes, and logouts on all devices. Wholesale club. I removed the household add-on, grocery application. I deleted all saved addresses other than mine. I removed my card. Bank. I transferred my savings to a new bank with a 2-factor login and a name no one knows. Credit freeze across all 3 bureaus. PINs in an area that my family seldom checks. Mail. Set up an informed delivery with a 5-day hold. House keys. The spare I had gave Mom last year went missing. I arranged a locksmith for my home on the 29th. New locks. New codes. I was not punishing, I was cleaning, I was shutting off the only taps I had turned on. At 2:40 p.m., Mom tried something soft. We can reset after the holiday, she wrote. Just admit you were dramatic. I responded, I'm not resetting to be your staff. She responded with one word. Ungrateful. At 3:12 p.m., Celine shared a photo of individuals wearing Christmas sweaters in our parents' living room eating what appeared to be rice with cranberry sauce. Caption. We made it work. Good. They should learn how. At 5 p.m., Dad finally spoke the truth. Equity line, he noted. We need to talk about tapping your savings for family needs. You're being selfish. I placed my phone face down and stared at the patterned hotel wallpaper until the room stopped spinning. I then wrote 3 sentences. I'm not your emergency fund. I will help Grandma directly, everything else is no. He replied, we won't forget this. Me either. On the 26th, I sat at a cafe and checked my email. Our European partner hotel made an offer, a 3-month assignment beginning in late January, with housing, a stipend, and the opportunity to learn their systems. I had applied in October at 2 a.m. I then persuaded myself it was a daydream. HR sent the offer on the 23rd. I had not seen it. I accepted. New start date, January 23rd. Paris, but not for vacation, for work. I chose this door. I texted my landlord when I returned to my room. Notice was provided. I texted Julian from work. Can you store 2 boxes? He replied with a thumbs up and a question. You okay? I wrote better than okay. On the 27th, I flew home. At baggage claim, my phone recorded the final batch. Mom. So you're actually doing this? Dad. Paris is childish. Celine. Nobody will assist me relocate in January. Grandmother. Bring me a magnet. I slipped my phone into my pocket and smiled. A magnet is something I can do. Back at my place, I wrote a list and taped it to the refrigerator. Exit. 1 column for accounts, 1 for dates, and 1 for completed. I began checking boxes. The true surprise was not Paris. It was that the part of me they expected to see, silent, useful and available, did not return. January brought a chill to everything. People become tired of being loud. Mom tried once more saying, "We can fix this if you sign a family agreement." And I responded, "No." Dad sent a link to a storage facility saying, "We need space at your place." And I said, "My lease has been active since the 20th. Celine wrote, "Last chance to support my launch," and I responded with a screenshot of my calendar including a small airplane icon. I made tiny trips, 2 boxes to Julian, and 1 suitcase to my parents' doorway for Grandma. Paris magnet, wool scarf, and a message containing my new phone number and the hours I'd be awake at her time. I rang the doorbell and left before Mom could open it. On my last night at my apartment, I made pasta and ate it on the floor because the chairs were no longer available. I made a list on a sticky note and kept it in my passport. I'll help Grandma personally. I will not endorse sentiments. I will not be the family's unpaid caregiver. I will not call control love. I'll respond when I mean yes. I'll say no without essays. At the airport, my phone vibrated. Mother. Are you proud of yourself? I wrote, "I'm proud that I stopped lying." She sent, "To who?" I wrote, "To myself." In Paris, my room is modest. The radiator clicks, and the window stares out at a slice of sky. I walk to work. I count dogs along the way. I find that the elevators here always hesitate before remembering you. I prepare coffee on a hot plate and toast bread till it's practically burnt, which is how I prefer it. I answer the phone when Grandma calls. I send her photographs of bridges and pigeons. I ignore the group conversation until the phone goes silent on its own. People continue to ask for a moral. I do not have a sentence for everyone. I've prepared a sentence for myself. I didn't flee. I shut the door I'd been keeping open for years because I believed that was what decent sons did. The party continued without me. Good. It should. It is theirs. So is the cleanup. I am not a servant. I am not a wallet. I am not prepared for other people's seasons. My name is Adrian. I'm 30. I booked the trip. I took it. I accepted the job. I reclaimed my life in modest, boring, and permanent ways. When I fly home, I'll bring Grandma another magnet. I'll transport myself back to a house with an empty kitchen until I decide to cook. And if someone says only 37, I'll smile and offer the simplest, clearest word I know. Number.